Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at BBAI. It is time for another update, and it seems we have pushed towards the end of the support zone areas, and today we will be discussing about the critical levels to watch and that we need to break, and the results of actually breaking these last few levels of support, what we should watch out for and be prepared for if we end up breaking them. Now, before we do that, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are going to track still at the moment the idea of a larger 5-wave move to the upside, and at this point it can still develop both as an impulse and as a leading diagonal, but the main idea is that we have here a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, and then we are tracking the third wave to the upside. In the blue scenario, we are tracking this as an impulse where we have a 1-2 setup in this area, and basically a continuation in a series of 1-2 setups where we are tracking an internal wave 3. Now, even for this, we do have quite extended targets, but for that we do need to hold these areas of support and end up following through with this scenario instead of what we have here in yellow, where we have an ABC structure. In this case, we are tracking a larger leading diagonal, and within this wave C, we are tracking an ending diagonal where this was a 1, this was a 2, and then this was a third wave up, fourth wave down, and then we expect an additional wave 5 to the upside. Now, these scenarios do work out and they do have a path and a plan as long as we hold above the $5.2 level. If we end up breaking that, well, we do still have a chance to recover as long as we don't actually form a new additional low, as long as this doesn't invalidate by forming a lower low. But I have to say, if we break below these levels, we should be prepared with a contingency plan, because there is a good chance that we might see at least a full reset of these larger interpretations, where this would end up into a larger AB or a larger 1-2 in the case of the blue scenario. And then we could be reaching towards the 78.6% retracement. At this point, we do still have some room in this larger area of support, down to the $1.9 level. But there is realistically, from a larger time frame perspective, there is a realistic risk that this larger trend is going down still, because I could argue that this is an initial 5-wave move down, this is an ABC pattern, and that we are resuming our downturn in an additional 5-wave structure to the downside, which could technically lead easily to new all-time lows. At the moment, we haven't necessarily been focusing on that interpretation, mainly because we have broken above the critical resistance areas that we would expect to hold below for likely continuation to the downside. But this has always been a risk that we have been aware of. But for now, we have been holding all along the area of supports, that the areas of support which we have been tracking, and there was no reason to even focus on these scenarios too much. We did mention them previously, no discussion about that. We were aware of them, but they were not a focus. Now, in the shorter time frame, at the moment we are still within the areas of support within both of them, and both scenarios could still work out, but we do need to hold these levels. And for these interpretations in yellow, we are tracking an ending diagonal within the wave C, in which we have a 1, 2, and 3 complete, and this would be the wave 4 correction. In this case, we can see that we got nearly to the 61.8% retracement exactly. Now, we did create an initial movement to the upside, and we may have bottomed. There is a good chance we may have already bottomed. I do want to mention that. But then we also have the blue scenario. Before we get into the very short time frame, I want to also go through that one. And in this scenario, we are instead tracking a series of 1-2 setups, something like this, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And from this point, we can still create an impulse to the upside within a larger wave 3. Now, ideally, we would have already built this movement into a more direct third wave to the upside and wouldn't have retraced so deep. So this scenario is a little bit under question. It is hanging by a thread, but again, even in the yellow interpretation, we are towards the end of the support zones. Both support zones overlap heavily. Now, in the very short time frame within this correction, we were expecting some sort of an ABC pattern, which at the moment does look possibly complete, where I would consider this an A wave down, a B wave up, a very short B wave, and then a C wave to the downside, in which I can even have a full 5-wave structure count. And that would be something like a 1, 2, 3, 4th, and a 5th. That could be done. Yeah, we could already have a bottom, and we could be heading in the next wave up, whether it is in the yellow interpretation or the blue. We don't know at this point. But within the blue scenario, we are expecting a very, very strong impulse to the upside. Yeah, it is a third wave of a third of a third of a so on. But yeah, it is a very deep wave 3, which should push with quite a lot of strength. While in the yellow interpretation, we are expecting more like a relaxed version of a continuation to the upside in an ABC pattern, part of this ending diagonal within the wave C. Now, both of them would still be expected to form new highs, but at the moment we don't know which of them we will end up getting, even if we hold this area of support and push higher. Now, I want to go quickly here in the shorter time frame and discuss a few options and critical areas that we need to break. So, as I was mentioning, we did reach an acceptable level within this extension, this correction in an ABC pattern. And we got to the 78.6% retracement, which is quite fine, especially considering how shallow this wave B correction was. And then within the wave C to the downside, where I suppose we could even add a small count here, an A, B, C. And within this wave C, we have a possible 5-wave move down. Now, we should be prepared for the possibility of an extension. Clearly, this wave C, however, is also an ending diagonal. And we need to be prepared for the possibility of this being something like a 1, 2, 3, where the wave 3 extended all the way down, and we still need a 4th and a 5th to complete this correction. And this is actually the most important area of resistance that I will be going to watch out for. I would prefer to have a full count already. And in fact, the structure does look better within the idea that this count is done, and we will be considering this. We will leave this in white on the chart to make it clear. The main assumption is that we have bottomed, or that we may get one more additional tiny low in this area, but still likely within the area of support. But if we end up getting an extension and this ends up being the wave 4 resistance for the orange interpretation, we should be prepared to extend to the 61.8% retracement, and that would be basically the last level that I would consider as resistance relevant for this direct continuation to the downside. And in that case, we have resistance between the $5.6 all the way up to the $6.3 level at the 61.8% retracement, where if we manage to break that, well, I will be exploring with higher likelihood the possibility of a bottom. But yeah, as long as we stay below, there is still a chance that we may extend even within this wave C to the downside that we are tracking here in white. Yeah, again, not the preferred interpretation. Within my preferred interpretation here, we already have a bottom. But yeah, we need to break these levels to get some signals, some confirmations that we have bottomed. Then what else can we really look for such a signal? We could look for an initial 5-wave structure to the upside on a slightly larger time frame. That would be another good sign. But yeah, for now, this is where we are, and these are the levels to watch. And yeah, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.